So a lot of you are pretty nervous about your speeches and such and getting ready for them. But don't worry, 60 years from now when you're reflecting upon your life, it's probably not going to be that big of a deal. And 1,000 years from now when you're reflecting on your life, it's probably not going to be as big of a deal either. And 1,000,000 years from now when you're reflecting on your life, it's not going to be as big of a deal either. So you're probably a little confused right now. What I'm going to talk about today is two things: the possibility of living forever and how I believe that can be achieved through artificial intelligence. So you're going to have to bear with me. I'm going to ask you some really hard questions to start. The first one: is life good or bad? Let's hear some answers here.
Fantastic.
Is death good or bad?
I'm pretty excited.
So I'm going to give you a really profound quote here. It says, "Death gives meaning to life." And you say it in a really prophetic voice just to make sure you're hearing it well. Death gives meaning to life. Do you believe me? Well, I don't. I think that quote is dumb. Life gives meaning to life. I mean, why would you want to die? I think that's just something that sounds kind of cool, but people are more excited to hear death gives meaning to life than life gives meaning to life. This is a baseball bat. Kyle's very familiar with those. I'm going to give you an example that goes in with the next quote. It's a theoretical experiment where you get a society of people, they all live together, and say once a month, everyone comes around and you take them in a room and you whack them on the back of the head with the baseball bat. And so then you just let them go, and that's the only part of that experiment. Now, the hypothesis is that people would come up with all these reasons how there's benefits to being hit on the back of the head with a baseball bat, because it's something they can't avoid, it's something they have to do. And so they think it's inevitable, they're going to come up with excuses for it. They're going to say, it makes you appreciate all the days that you're not getting hit with a baseball bat. It teaches you to be tough. It teaches you that to endure pain, and everything less than that pain is easier to deal with. But when I ask you guys, how many of you want to get all these benefits and get hit on the head with the baseball bat every month? Probably not very many of you are going to be saying that. And so I believe that's the same idea with life. I don't want to die today. I don't want to die tomorrow. I don't think I'm ever going to want to die. And I think if there was a society in which everyone was living forever, and we told them, hey, in our society, we appreciate death. We love being able to grow old and shrivel up into a prune and then die and cease to exist, I think people would be very, whoa, that sounds terrible. And so I'm going to try and live forever, and I hope you all can do it with me. So how is that going to be achieved? I'm not entirely sure exactly the means, but I believe it will be through artificial intelligence. How many of you know what artificial intelligence is? Most of you have a good idea of what it is. There's some minor forms of artificial intelligence in the world today. Cleverbot on Google will go talk to you. Artificial intelligence is the program in chess to help you be able to win. What artificial intelligence is computer programming that basically can teach itself and write itself to be able to accomplish a goal. And this is Ray Kurzweil. He is a humanist futurist, and he believes that artificial intelligence can be created in 15 years, and that within 30 years there'll be human equal artificial intelligence. And so once artificial intelligence gets created, there will be a huge technological boom. We're talking about computers that can teach themselves everything, can learn smarter than us, they can be programmed to go faster thinking than us, and that will be a huge technological boom in humanity society. And with that, we can be able to find the means to live forever, whether that's through gene therapy or through nanotechnology or through mind uploading. There's a lot of possibilities. But in the creation of artificial intelligence, there's one thing we have to be careful about. Making sure we don't get the artificial intelligence takes over the world. Friendly AI is a big, important thing that we need to try and create. Here is what I'm talking about. Say you create artificial intelligence and the goals you give it, it takes to an extreme. Say to make sure its goals are exactly compliant with yours. Say the goal is to successfully give a heart transplant for someone, and this artificial intelligence robot says, okay, I'll give them a new heart, and so they just whip in, rip out the heart, and then they'll put the new heart. It's like, okay, I put the new heart in for you, but they also broke the spinal cord while they were doing that, because they weren't being careful. So you have to make sure you give artificial intelligence the same values that we have. And it gets even more complicated than that. If you say value health and happiness, there's a book that was written where health and happiness are, the artificial intelligence tries to make everyone be really happy, and they put that by putting people in like padded rooms where they're going to be safe, and they give them drugs, and so they're happy. And so even good fuzzy words like health and happiness can be bad if it's taken to an extreme. And so the thing is, with artificial intelligence, you have to create a way for it to be able to understand everything, even us talking about understanding it. So it's going to have to be able to understand itself and be able to update its beliefs along with ours. If you look back at time in ancient Greek, their value systems are going to be very different than ours. So you want it to be able to stay up to date with society. So, in conclusion, I want to remind you that life is good, and it's important to try and live it to your fullest, and hopefully as long as possible. I hope we all can be able to achieve immortality, and I believe that artificial intelligence is the way to do this. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I have a lot to say in a limited amount of time this time, but thank you for listening.